Greetings. This is Brother Student Minister Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad, and this is One Black Man's Opinion. My beloved brothers and sisters, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that the fundamental motivation in this society is greed and the preying upon the weak of the country and the weak of the world versus sharing wealth in cooperation with the weak and the poor. Greed is defined as a selfish desire for possessions and wealth beyond reason. When greed is exercised in the society, it is reflected by the division among people. Now, why do I say that? If the insurrection of January the 6th wasn't a wake-up call for all who have eyes and ears, then you and I must still be asleep, and we're in grave danger of suffering loss as a great nation unravels and moves towards an ignominious place in the dustbin of history. The importance of KPFT and the Pacifica Network cannot be understated in an hour such as this. We're facing a pandemic, pushing experimental vaccines, and they're not exploring or authorizing other therapies or treatments that may be effective. It's all about Big Pharma and these vaccines. There's an economic downturn, and we're approaching levels of the Great Depression. Small businesses are being crushed. Large businesses are gaining access to the first PPP loans, and they appear to be taking advantage of the largesse of the taxpayers. And now, the Senate is trying to cut off the little man and woman from help. There are 10.1 million Americans unemployed with an unemployment rate of 6.3%. There's a racial reckoning going on. The murderers of George Floyd are on trial, and I just predict that the outcome won't satisfy anyone. But police killings have been reduced since the Black Lives Matter movement began protesting in 2020. However, the outcome of this trial of the murderers of George Floyd will only exacerbate the racial tensions that are already in existence. Yesterday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott canceled the mandatory mask mandate and, as he said, opened up the state 100%. He has now put business and economics over the health and well-being of the citizens of Texas. Now, what I'm saying to you, I don't take lightly. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion or from religion, being able to assemble peacefully to redress grievances with your government is the hallmarks of a free society. But despite these freedoms being enshrined in the founding document of this republic, one who exercises them must be responsible in their use and be willing to accept the consequences of these freedoms. This cancel culture employed by the left and the right, both by conservatives and progressives, is antithetical to free speech and the freedoms enshrined in the First Amendment. To battle speech that is objectionable, not violent, but offensive, one should use more free speech. But this cancel culture, which both conservatives and progressives employ, as of late is harmful in a society as diverse racially, geographically, politically, and economically as America is. Now, why do I say that? We face partisanship and gridlock. The honeymoon never started for the Biden-Harris administration because in the eyes of many, the wedding or the election never took place or didn't turn out the way they thought it should. And it's becoming more and more dangerous, more and more treacherous as the rhetoric begins to heat up. And the prediction is that the violence will increase. For the Biden administration and Harris administration, they need to beware of the 2020 midterms. The Brennan Center tracks voting legislation around the country, and they report as of February 19th, 2021, legislators in 43 states have carried over or filed or introduced more than 250 bills that would make it harder to vote. Over 7 times the number of restrictive bills as compared to roughly this time last year. These bills primarily seek to limit mail voting and impose stricter voter ID requirements. Now add to that divine judgment and natural disasters. Through September 2020, the U.S. had 16 natural disasters: wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and drought, with at least $1 billion in damage per calamity. The Holy Quran says, "And indeed we sent messengers to nations before you. Then we seized them with distress and affliction that they might humble themselves." 2020 was the 5th consecutive year to see a Cat 5 hurricane form. November 2020 was the first on record to have 2 major hurricanes, Eta and Iota. Brothers and sisters, 2020 hurricane season was the second time forecasters had to use the list of Greek names. We had 30 named storms in 2020, with wind speeds from 39 miles per hour to 73 miles per hour. And 27 of the 30 storms formed earliest. This was the first time that that many storms had formed that early in the hurricane season. Tropical storm Eta hit Florida. It was the 12th named storm to hit the U.S., and it broke the record of 9 recorded in 1916. Brothers and sisters, we just survived a cold snap where our lights went out. Our water became such that we had to boil it. We had a logistical supply chain disrupted. Planes couldn't fly into our airports. Trucks couldn't drive over our roads. Our grocery stores, the shelves were empty. No water, no bread, no food, no eggs. And there's still food insecurity and water insecurity going on throughout the state of Texas. And then the governor lifts the mask mandate. Greed and inordinate self-interest are what is plaguing this state and this country. So I say to you, with all due respect to Governor Greg Abbott, I'm a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And first and foremost, we say we're not taking your vaccine. But just as important, we do believe in masking up, in practicing social distancing, of washing our hands frequently with soap and warm water, with cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting our environment in the areas and objects that we touch often. We believe in how to eat to live and proper nutrition and taking the vitamin supplements that are necessary to not be a victim of comorbidity. We believe in getting out in the sun and allowing the vitamins that only come from the sun to bathe our bodies so we may be healthy. We believe in exercise. We believe in de-escalation of conflict so that while we shelter in place or while we're going through the financial strain that we go through because of the economic downturn, we don't turn on the ones that we love, our wives, our husband, and our children. And most importantly, brothers and sisters, we believe that in the end, we're going to have to find alternative treatments, alternative therapies other than vaccines. These experimental vaccines are very dangerous because we don't know the long-term effects and impacts of them. And they are indeed experimental and have not gone through all of the protocols necessary for approval of said vaccines. These are drugs, and these drug pushers, Big Pharma, seem to have the only voice that is listened to. And all of our doctors and all of our leaders are the only ones talking about take the vaccine, take the vaccine. And anybody that has a contrary view has been blocked from major media, has been blocked from social media, and can't even have an honest discussion or debate about whether we should be following the lead of these people whose interest is money. If you go on Big Pharma's websites, yes, you'll see everything about the mRNA technology and the vaccines, but also there's a link there for investors. And you'll see what their stock traded for before the announcement, after the announcement, and currently while it's being used. Brothers and sisters, if the governor would lift the mask mandate, if the governor would lift it and open up the state 100%, then his motive is money. His motive is to put economy over the health and well-being of the citizens of Texas. Maybe he's trying to deflect from his incompetent leadership during the freeze of 2021. I don't know. I'll leave that to those who have more political sagacity than I do. But I do know this, that the people of Texas are in danger with this type of leadership that would put money over their health and their well-being. I close with this. Your health is your wealth. Without good health, you can't work. Without good health, you can't earn a living. Without good health, you can't enjoy your children and your spouse and all of the beauties of life. So, brothers and sisters, take care of yourself, and remember, this is one black man's opinion. What's yours? I'm Brother Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad.